welcome to another edition of Coastline. I'm Rick Forshner, out of my usual coat and tie today, and looking a little bit disheveled because of the wind, because we are on location at what is undoubtedly the South Carolina jewel. I'm talking, of course, about Hunting Island State Park, and I'm joined by the park manager, Daniel Gambrell. How you doing there, Daniel?
Great.
Glad you could join us today on Coastline. And this is a gorgeous location. I'm glad we picked this particular day because there's a bit of a breeze and it's keeping any sand gnats away.
Absolutely.
But the tourists seem to be all over the place. Is that the par for the course every day of the year?
Yes, sir, it is. Mainly this time of the year, from around March all the way through October. The park stays pretty busy with visitors. So.
It is a beautiful location out here behind our camera folks. There's miles and miles and miles of water, ocean, and behind you is the world famous Hunting Island Lighthouse. I guess that's probably as good a place to start as any. Tell me a little bit about the lighthouse, its history, and what it's doing these days.
Sure. Well, of course, the lighthouse would be one of Hunting Island's main attractions. It's one of the things, the icons, is one of the things that we're known for. One of the neat things about the lighthouse at Hunting Island is it's one of the only lighthouses in South Carolina that is open to the public to be able to climb. So
climb. You mean actually walking up steps? You don't have an elevator?
That's correct. There's no elevator.
How many steps is it?
There's 175 steps to the top. The lighthouse is 132 foot tall. So once you get to the top, you really get a spectacular view of not only the ocean, but the maritime forest as well. So.
And I see the light is up there. Is it still working?
The light is still working. It's not for navigational purposes anymore for mariners, but it is a neat thing to have still going when you can get to see the light rotating.
So you typically do have it on every evening?
We do, yes, sir.
Great, good deal. Now, I know that there is a very modest fee to come into the park, $5 for me, and I guess there are probably discounts for certain folks, right. Students maybe, and older folks. Do you have a seniors discount? We do.
The park admission is basically $5 per person. For seniors, it's 65 or older, or a resident of South Carolina, it's $3.25, and from 6 to 12 for kids, it is $3, and for 5 and under is actually free. So,
all right, not bad. And you've got a season's pass, I hope.
We do. We have an annual park pass, and it's actually good for all 47 state parks, and it's good for a year from the time that it's purchased, and it will get you entrance into all the parks for 1 year, everyone in your vehicle, and that pass is $75. If you qualify as a senior, 65 or older, you can also get a Palmetto passport, which is $37.50 for that.
Oh, so that's a steal.
Absolutely.
Excellent, and so much to do, especially if you like camping. I know I've got some friends here, Don and Donna McLean, that they are avid campers. As a matter of fact, so much so that they talk to you about being campground hosts.
Right.
And I think they're entertaining folks for a couple of months now. Tell us a little bit about the campground. Do you need to make a reservation? Can you come up just to bring the old fifth wheel? How does that all work?
Sure. We do. We have an extremely popular campground. We have about 180 sites, and some of those sites are for your basic campers, mobile RVs, things like that. We also have some sites that are designated just for tents. So we offer a wide range for different campers, for what they're looking for. But yet, like I said, it is extremely popular. So reservations are pretty much a must. We start taking reservations 11 months in advance. So for your busier parts of the year, the peak season, it's encouraged to make reservations as early as possible.
So I guess I won't be getting the July 4th, 2014.
That would be correct, if you have not booked it already.
I haven't booked it, I'm afraid not. And I guess behind me is one of the remaining cabins here at Hunting Island. It's a neat concept. I've lived off and on in South Carolina in Beaufort since 1983, and I know we used to have a ton of these cabins. They've kind of diminished for a variety of reasons, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But that one's probably booked for a good long while too, right?
That's correct. It would be very similar to the campground, since we do only have one, and it's actually stationed right beside a lighthouse. There's not many places where you have that unique opportunity. So guests are encouraged to book that as early as possible.
What would something like that cost?
It's around $1,500 for a week, around $200 a night plus tax and all.
Which is not
stay.
bad for waterfront property.
Sure, and it accommodates up to 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And as far as the campground facilities go, I'm assuming you provide everything: electric, sewer, hookups, all that stuff.
That's correct. On your standard sites, those sites would have your water hookups. They'd also have 30 or 50 amp service. We do provide 50 amp because a lot of the campers are getting bigger and requiring the 50 amp service. So we do have sites that offer that as well. We have comfort stations in there with hot showers for the guests to use. And
not bad. And of course, in the 21st century, everybody wants Wi-Fi. Do you have Wi-Fi?
Yes, sir.
You're kidding me.
We do. We actually have 3 different spots on the park that have your Wi-Fi access, and the campground store is one of them. The Lighthouse gift shop, which is back behind us here, has that, and also our visitor center has Wi-Fi. So.
Outstanding, outstanding. We're going to be looking at the visitor center, some of the museum pieces that you have here, and the lighthouse itself. A little bit of background on that in just a second. Before we break, though, I did want to ask you, as far as the activities for you've got some picnic facilities over there, it looks like. Is it possible to bring a party of 50 or 75 people and say, yeah, we'd like to rent out an area here at the grounds?
Sure. We actually do have a lot of large groups that come in. Once the visitors come in, pay the admission fee, all of the picnic area, the day use areas are first come, first serve for that. We do have one rental facility that's a picnic shelter that's off to our left over here that can be reserved in advance, and it's quite popular as well, so you can make reservations for that.
All right,
for the larger parties.
Before we break, give us a little information, phone number for the park, and do you have a website where people can do all this, or do they have to call in?
Right. Yeah, in order to make reservations, it's really simple. First, you can go to the website, and it's www.southcarolinaparks.com. We have a toll-free number that you can call that's 1-866-345-PARK, or you can also call our park office to make reservations as well, and that's area code 843-838-2011.
All right, good deal. Talk a little bit about some of the historical aspects of the grounds here in just a second, but first we're going to take a break and then we'll be right back.
Don't let a fun day on the water turn into a tragic event. Play it safe by following all the boating and water safety rules. First, check the weather and let someone know where you are going. Make sure everything is in good working order on your boat. You should have a fire extinguisher, navigation lights, flares, and life jackets. South Carolina law states children 12 and under must wear a life jacket. There must be one life jacket for each person on the boat, readily available and in good condition. Make sure your life jackets are the appropriate size, especially for children. The consequences can be deadly if a child falls overboard and does not have a life jacket that fits properly. Remember, life jackets can save your life. Wear them. Nobody expects to have an accident. Even the safest, most competent boat operator can't predict what other boaters will do. A boat speeding by can create a wake that easily can tip a smaller boat. If you are in the smaller boat, you could find yourself in the water. That's why it's important for children to stay seated while boating. Sometimes mechanical things go wrong with your boat, or bad weather comes up, or you hit a submerged object. The point is, you can't control everything when you are on the water. If you are wearing your life jacket and have learned some safety rules, you will be more prepared to handle just about anything that might happen. Don't let a fun day turn to tragedy.
We are the Beaufort County Safety Education Team, and we're saying get set and get safe.
Beaufort County is constantly changing, and we'll keep you informed. The County Channel, your source for what's happening in Beaufort County. From County Council to the Town of Hilton Head School Board and local events, the County Channel will keep you up to date. For a complete listing of the County Channel schedule, go to bcgov.net, click on the County Channel, and choose your selection. For live coverage of Beaufort County meetings, boards, and commissions, it's the County Channel.
Back on location at Coastline with Daniel Gambrell, Parks Manager at Hunting Island State Park. And Daniel, we were talking a little bit about the some of the other buildings besides the cabin behind us here. On the grounds, you've got some out cabins that host a variety of museum pieces. Tell me a little bit about some of those.
Right. First thing that you will kind of notice after you walk past the lighthouse is we have the foundation from the original the lighthouse keeper's residence. And it was usually two families that stayed in the residence. It was the lighthouse keeper and the lighthouse keeper's assistant. And they typically both would have families, so it was quite a few people that would stay on site here.
So this brickwork that I'm looking at was the foundation?
The actual foundation.
Okay, what happened to the house? It didn't go in a hurricane or anything, did it?
It was over time, it just
wore away. Yeah. Okay.
And some of the other things we do have, like you mentioned, some of the outbuildings that would have been used by the lighthouse keepers and their families. But today we actually have some different museum type pieces in there that the visitors can come and see and learn a little bit about the history of the lighthouse and how the families would have lived back then.
Well, tell me a little bit, if I was a visitor and I was asking for the 50-cent tour, what would you tell me?
One of the neat things, and a lot of people are really interested in this, is what was it like for the actual families that for the lighthouse keeper himself, but for also their families. When they were here and the lighthouse was actually in use, it was a very secluded area. All of their equipment and supplies had to be brought in by boat, and then it was from the boat there was a kind of a rail type system that they had a buggy on that they would bring all the supplies from the creek all the way to here. So it was a very and they rarely had visitors, so it was a kind of a lonesome place out here. They grew their own food. They had farm crops.
Run down to Johnson Creek Tavern and grab a bite, or up to Fripp Island to get some groceries.
That's correct.
What time frame are you talking about here? Because I know we've had this highway at least 21 since I've lived here in 1982.
Well, the original lighthouse was in 1859, and it was located several miles out where the ocean now is. Then it was destroyed during the Civil War and relocated in 1975, only to be taken back over again from erosion, and it was taken down at that time. It was built so that it could be taken down piece by piece in sections, and then moved and reconstructed. And that was what was done. It was moved here in 1889, and it's still in its present place.
So the original lighthouse was miles out to sea?
That's correct.
And it was manned? So they'd have to take the boat out there?
It wasn't, at that time it was on land, but because of the erosion over time, where it stood then is now in the water now.
You mean to tell me there has been erosion to the extent that it's wiped away over miles worth of land?
That's correct.
Wow, I knew that we had a problem. I guess I didn't realize it was that bad. Tell me a little bit about this erosion issue, because over the years we've talked about groins, and I'm not even sure what groins are. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that, and whether there are some out there now, or whether you're planning on putting in. What are you doing to help mitigate this problem?
Right. Well, with Hunting Island being a barrier island, that is what barrier islands do. Over time they change and evolve and erode and reform. So that's what they're supposed to do. We do try to protect it, and there's really very limited things that you can do. One of the main ones that has been done here before is beach renourishment, and that has been done here. And along with that, they put in what you mentioned, as in rock growings, and basically that helps to slow down the erosion process. So we do have those. We have done those two things in the past to try.
But I know whenever I
it down.
talk about beach renourishment, you know, there's a big dollar sign associated with that.
Yes, sir.
And do you anticipate going before the powers that be and asking for some more beach renourishment in the near future?
Right. We would hope to, you know, to be able to do what we did in the previous years, to be able to slow that process down. We would hope to be able to do that again in
now,
the future.
when you seek to renourish, how much further do you want to extend the existing coastline? You talking about a couple hundred yards, a mile, what?
Basically, what we would look to do is what was done in the past, and you're basically just adding sand back to your current beach, just to make it to where the erosion process is slowed down somewhat. So, and we would mainly, what was done in the past was the main day use areas were the areas that we try to renourish and keep.
Yeah. Well, I noticed I was out on a run walk earlier this year, back in April or May, and had the opportunity to just kind of go up and around the island and saw the different campgrounds. You've got different campgrounds, I guess. One up on the South Beach, and then one over here just before you get to the main entrance. And are they at risk of being eroded?
Yeah, they're just the same as the rest of the island is. You know, that they're prone to the elements just like the rest of the main day use beaches and things like that are. So
yeah, okay. Well, getting back to some of these outbuildings that you've got here, what are some of the items that you've got in the museum pieces?
We actually have some photos of some of the history of the lighthouse, some of the actual lighthouse keepers, their families. We have some photos of those folks. We have some pieces that are would simulate what some of the tools that they used, that some of the things that they would have to carry to the top to work on things and things like that. So,
would you have chosen to be a lighthouse keeper if you had been given the opportunity, if you'd been in the 1800s?
Probably not. You know, I think it was a really neat thing, and there were only a few of them that did that. One thing that we do know is that they were very proud of what they did, and you know, they served a really good purpose, you know, to save a lot of lives out there. But the conditions could be really harsh on them. So.
Yeah, I imagine so. I remember reading that prior to Hurricane Hugo, the last hurricane that came anywhere near Beaufort was in '59, I think, Gracie. And then back in the 1800s, there was a major hurricane that impacted most of South Carolina. So I can't imagine being stuck in a lighthouse with a hurricane headed my way. Going to talk a little bit more about life in the lighthouse in a second, but we've got a mandatory break, and then we'll be right back.
Are you keeping your children safe around the water? Even the smallest amount of water can cause a child to drown. Protecting them is your job. Make sure they have proper flotation devices that fit. That can mean the difference between life and death. Ensure safety devices are in place to keep children out of pools and ponds. When possible, keep lifesavers and pool hooks nearby in the case of accidents. Teach your children how to swim at a young age and learn CPR. Someone's life may depend on it. There's nothing more important than constant supervision to keep your child safe. But when you can't be there with them, make sure they know never to play in the water or swim without a friend or an adult nearby. We are the Beaufort County Safety Education Team, and we're saying get set and get safe.
Back on location at Hunting Island, and I'm with Daniel Gambrell, the park manager out here. I apologize, it's a breezy day. My hair is getting blown away, and Mr. Gambrell, do I call you Mr. or Ranger or what?
Call me Daniel.
Daniel, but your title would be?
Park manager.
Okay, park manager, and Daniel didn't have a spare Smoky that he could lend me, so I apologize in advance for my hair, my wind-blown look. But we've been talking about this lighthouse, and I'm looking up there right now, and my goodness, I don't know whether Rob can actually go an angle up there, but if he were to do that right now, he'd see that there's somebody out there on the balcony, and they're just kind of walking around, and it's amazing. I would definitely get vertigo. How high did you say that was? 130 something feet?
132 feet.
And that's, you get a good day's exercise going up there. The lighthouse, purpose of the lighthouse originally was, I imagine, to allow ships to know that you were here, and what else?
Basically what it was is the light was to warn mariners of your different shoals and sandbars that formed, so they knew once they saw the light that they had to stay so far back from it, and it could be seen for miles and miles out to sea. Before the lighthouse was there, they used light ships and that were stationed off in the ocean that served the same purpose, but they switched from the light ships to lighthouses.
Light ships, huh? Okay, kind of like an ancient version of drones, huh? That's amazing. Well, I imagine that the people that manned the light ships had to stock up for a good long time if they were going to be out there serving that purpose. These beaches that we're looking at out here, anybody can come in any time of the year. You're open 365 days a year, and we wanted to just lightly touch on some of the regulations. I know that I'm a dog lover. I've got a couple Yorkies. Can I bring them out to the beach?
Sure. You're absolutely correct. We do offer access to the beach here. We have about 4 miles of beach for visitors to come and enjoy. And probably just before the lighthouse, the beach is the #1 attraction for the park. So yeah, we offer, like I said, about 4 miles of pristine beach. You're a pet lover, pets are absolutely allowed on the beach. They have to remain on a leash at all times, no longer than 6 feet. We also have trash bags and things for the owners to help take care of their pets while they're out here as well.
Good deal. I remember a number of years ago I took my little 8-pound dog Spike to the Edisto State Park. Yeah, I know. You got to give these little guys a big husky name. And we were out at the beach, and the surf was really coming up, and he went running out there, and this big wave came and it just carried him back. It was hilarious. So it's okay to have pets on the beach, sure, but if we're camping, there's a restriction about having dogs in the campgrounds, right?
Yeah, the dogs are allowed in the campground as well.
Oh, they are?
So the same rules would apply to them as at the beach. You know, they'd have to stay on a leash
just
at all times as
the cabin behind us then.
That's correct. Pets are not allowed in the cabin area. So.
Okay, all right.
But they are in the campground.
Good deal. If I was to come here, I know online you've got a top 5 things to do at Hunting Island. What are the top 5 things you'd recommend as a visitor, either in-state or from out of state?
Sure. We'll start from the back, and number 5 would be we have a really nice trail system on the park that offers a lot of different opportunities for just for hiking, you know, leisurely hikes and walks, some more trails that are a little bit tougher to be able to hike. We
have
offer
you got those
bike trails as well,
numbered as to how far they're going? Okay.
Yeah, we have a trail brochure that has a map on it that tells you know, about each trail, about how long they are, what the terrain is, and that type of thing. So the trail system would be number 5 on the list.
All right.
We also have a marsh boardwalk. It's a boardwalk that goes out over the salt marsh, and it actually ends with a nice fishing and crabbing dock out on the creek out there. And it's a really popular area, and in my opinion, it's probably the best place in the low country to watch the sunset. So
all
it's
right.
definitely a
That
must-see.
sounds like a nice, cheap date. You know, you bring your wife out, your girlfriend, and take her out on the boardwalk, play a little drifters music, shag a little, do the state dance, and just have a wonderful time out on the boardwalk while the sun goes down.
Absolutely.
Number three.
Number three would be visitors would need to go see our nature center. We have a fantastic nature center that has live reptiles in it, all different kind of educational exhibits for the young and old to learn about the ecosystems that we have here.
Now you just keep the reptiles in the nature center. You don't let them out loose, correct?
We don't let them out loose, but we do take them out and give people the opportunity to hold snakes and to hold turtles and things like that. So it's a unique experience.
Alligators are also considered reptiles, right?
They are. We do not have alligators in the nature center right now.
Thank goodness.
We do have alligators on the park though.
Oh no.
One of the best places to see alligator at the park is at the visitor center. There's a small pond and there's an alligator that stays in there on a regular basis.
As long as he knows his place,
Yeah.
that's okay.
And along with the nature center, I'd like to mention too is we have a lot of different programs that we offer, educational programs for school groups. Anybody that's interested in taking field trips. We have what's called the Discover Carolina program, where it's actually a curriculum-based program that's catered to what they're actually studying in school. So it's a good kind of an outdoor type setting classroom for teachers to be able to use as well.
Okay, so teachers and students can go to the same website. Is it scstateparks.org?
www.southcarolinaparks.com.
southcarolinaparks.com. Okay. So was the educational program number 2 or?
That was 3.
That was part of 3, okay.
And number 2 would of course be the beach. Have to come out and see the beach as we talked about earlier, but it is definitely one of the main attractions.
Can I bring my little hibachi and cook out there?
You can actually use your grill in all of our picnic areas. They're just not allowed on the actual beach itself, but they are allowed up in the picnic areas though.
All right, good deal. And number 1.
And drum roll for number 1 is would be the Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse,
that is behind us.
Of course.
So,
sure, that's amazing. Now, is there an additional charge to go in the Lighthouse?
there is a small fee to actually climb the Lighthouse, and it's $2 per person. And also like to mention that for kids, they must be at least 44 inches tall to be able to climb the Lighthouse.
Well, the way I'm feeling these days, you ought to pay me $2 to climb that Lighthouse. Well, Daniel Gambrell, I'll tell you what, we've had a delightful time out here. You have probably got the best job in Beaufort County.
I would agree with that. I absolutely love my job, and like you said, what a great place to be able to work every day.
Thank you so much, and we look forward to having a lot of people come out and meet you personally and take in some of the lighthouse, some of the exhibits, the museum, and of course the Nature Center out here at the Hunting Island State Park and Lighthouse. Next month, we will have Patty Kennedy with the Beaufort County Open Land Trust. And you certainly will want to find out some of the acquisitions that are in store and some of the properties that have recently been acquired. We hope you'll join us then.